Welcome to DABCC Radio,
where smart people listen.
Virtualization and Cloud Talk,
Featuring cutting-edge solutions from the hottest companies around the globe.
broadcasting from the DABCC offices in sunny Sarasota, Florida.
Surrounded by computers, books, and Legos.
A Microsoft MVP, Citrix Charter CTP, VMware vExpert.
And your host, Douglas Brown.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of DABCC Radio. I am your host, Douglas Brown, and I'm quite excited about this episode. At the beginning of the year, we started off doing an episode with a gentleman named Jed Ayres, and Jed is one of my heroes. I've known Jed for a while, but I never really knew him the way I got to meet him, get to know him this year, and just a phenomenal individual. Talking about, this guy runs at 2,000 miles per hour, and I absolutely love those type of people. Mover and a shaker and a dream maker. This guy is all that in a bag of chips, as I like to say. Really great guy. And he is the global CMO at IGEL and IGEL Technology. He's also the president and CEO of the Americas. And really, well, Jed's going to introduce himself, but he's one of the guys behind this phenomenal growth that we've seen within IGEL and of sharing this great story that the IGEL's created, IGEL Germany has created, IGEL the world has created for many years now. And what do I say? I don't want to get ahead of myself because we're going to go through and talk about what's new at IGEL, the past year at IGEL, why you should care. IGEL's having an end-user conference and what that all means. We're going to talk a bit about that. We're going to have some predictions for 2018. We just have some fun chatting. Jed's a great guy. I love chatting with the guy. To me, this is almost an excuse to get him on the phone to chat. Wink, wink. Sorry, Jed. It's my privilege, my pleasure, right? So, okay, on that note, with no further ado, here's my interview with Jed Ayres from IGEL Technology. Okay, Jed, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. You know, it's the end of the year, and I think we did a podcast at the beginning of the year, and now we're going to do sort of a wrap-up podcast. So I look forward to this, and we can review, you know, everything that's gone on over the past 2017, you know, over the past year, 2017. Maybe at the very end, I'll ask you about what you predict for 2018. But in the meantime, I'm getting ahead of myself, so as always, let me, ask you, who are you and what do you do over at IGEL for those who might not know about you? And as I always say, shame on them. Everyone should know Jed.
Well, thank you, Doug. Always a great time to sit with you and chat for a few minutes about what's going on in the world of technology. And I'm Jed Ayres. I hold two roles at IGEL. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer globally. And then I have the great pleasure of building and growing out a team in North America, which now includes Canada. And I also, in 2018, will have our Australian team. We're starting to really build and see some momentum in Australia. So that's my role. And I have spent 20 years in the IT channel before I worked for a couple large Citrix resellers and VMware resellers, and then worked for AppSense for a short while before they were sold to Landesk and Avante. So I've always been in the sort of end-user compute space in technology. Has certainly been a gift for me to choose a career in this space and also be exposed early in my career to Citrix and end-user compute.
Well, you're preaching to the choir there. I think, anyone that's been in the EUC space for quite some time, I think we all feel extremely lucky, like you said, you've been doing this for 20 years. I have also. And it's just, in those days, it was just sort of this weird, sort of those guys over there that think they have a good idea. And, nowadays it's very much a mainstream solution, right? Not just remoting, but everything that grew out around it. And, it's been, I'm so lucky. I always feel so lucky that I was introduced to this space, and then also lucky enough to realize what it was in those days, right? And there's a good handful of us out there and you being one of them. So yeah, well said.
Go
ahead.
Oh, you first, Doug. It's your show.
Well, I was going to ask you another question, but if you had something else to say, please do.
No, go for it. Ask me away.
Okay. So, well, this is the second question, as always, to tell me about the company. So, can you tell us a bit about IGEL? The 40,000-foot view. What is IGEL about?
Yeah, absolutely. So IGEL, probably to a lot of people listening in the U.S., may have been an unknown company up until recently, right? We've made a big push into the U.S. The company actually started in Germany, in the late 90s, and then really got its start in the current iteration in 2001 as a thin client player, really with a strong emphasis on Linux and a strong emphasis on building a world-class management solution. And by 2006, the company was number one in Germany, and then kind of expanded out from there. And it's really maintained number one or two, number three position in all the markets across Europe. And then most recently, about 2 years ago, year and a half ago, I guess, we really made a big push into the U.S. And we'll have close to 60 people on the ground here, the headquarters in San Francisco, starting January 1st, I should say, 2018, which is a huge expansion over the last year and a half. When I got here in the middle of 2016, where it was 14 people. And so we've really attracted some of the best and brightest people in the end user compute space from around the ecosystem who have been attracted to what we're doing. And the company really is a software company at the heart of it. We're delivering a very secure, light, manageable operating system that's extensible to pretty much any x86 device out there. And, we're finding a lot of appetite in large enterprises, especially those enterprises that are highly regulated, healthcare, retail, government, finance, where they want to repurpose assets, they want to reduce the number of people managing endpoints, and they want to be more secure. So those are kind of the three ways we're winning and taking serious market share from, the traditional hardware manufacturers out there, HP and Dell. We're having a lot of fun. We're growing a team that's extremely focused here in the U.S. and Canada, and we're growing at high double digits and even triple digits in parts of our software portfolio for the year of 2017. And obviously, orders are pouring in as we're talking here, Doug, which is great as we close out the year.
Absolutely. The orders are pouring in. It sounds like a telethon, right? the calls are coming in as we talk. Johnny, just $10,000 over there.
The U.S. is a unique buying culture, right? Like people tend to wait to the very end of the year. They have kind of use it or lose it budgets, and most of the people in Europe have gone off to their Christmas pageants and are pretty tied down for the rest of the year. But in the U.S., we'll go all the way through to Saturday, December 30th. So we're taking orders, and it's just a different environment here. We'll do probably a third of our number in the last 8 hours.
Yeah, that's insane. It's I've been in Europe for about 3.5, 4 years now. Living here almost a good majority of my time, and the differences between the two cultures are amazing. Some are, I like it's always nice the big difference between Europe and America is sort of work to live or live to work, and in Europe is sort of work to live. And it's sort of nice, but at the same time, when you come from the other thing, it's confusing to you. But I love the Europeans, just a great place to be. But I wouldn't discount my American brethren. They're all great people.
We found a great, synergy, I think, in the last year with the team that we're building here that really is energizing the European community, and they've really come alive in the last 6 months in terms of the German market, and I mean the numbers will speak for themselves. I'm sure we'll release a momentum press release sometime in January where we can share with the world the extraordinary growth that we've achieved not only on hardware but definitely on software as well. So nice to see a market, that in most cases has been trending up in double digits for IGEL, and it's a testament to a focus, a testament to great German engineered software, and I think we've sort of been intertwined a very aggressive American marketing engine into that, and the results are speaking for themselves.
Yeah. I think what IGEL's done is told the story about what these amazing, the amazing product these amazing Germans created, right? I think when you and I first started chatting about a year ago, and went something like, you're telling me the story, and I said, Jed, I know this. And you said, Doug, you know this, but not everyone else does. And I think over the past year, you've done a phenomenal job. IGEL's done a phenomenal job, sharing that with the world. And, once you see it and you understand what it does, you understand the value it brings, then you're just, it's almost at that point, it almost becomes in some strange way a no-brainer.
Yeah, well, I mean, it becomes almost religious for people that have actually experienced it, right? Like once they get the IGEL operating system and management, they become huge evangelists for the savings of time and money that they're achieving. And so for us, it's been fun here in the U.S. because we've done thousands of demos with our new inside sales team, exposing people to this console, right? And when they see it and they kind of line it up against what they might have in their environment today, it's just it's lights out, right? They move quickly into a proof of concept, and that's really what's driving the business is exposing people to this software. The beauty of it is they can go to the website and they can download it, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about some of the things you've been working on, right? One of the cool things that we've done is we've made it really easy to actually deploy it once you have it downloaded, right? Through this user guide that sort of steps you through it. So, we have a big army of engineers that can help you, but we've also got some great, easy documentation that we're adding into the equation. And, it's scaling very nicely, I guess is what I would tell you. I love software.
Yeah, I do too. I was going to ask you, what's behind the growth, but I think in many ways you've answered that. It's just about showing them and the product sells itself. Anything else behind what's happening at IGEL? It's interesting, Jed. There's probably not a week that goes by in the past, 11 months that I haven't received a call or an email saying, hey, what's going on at IGEL? And it's not just people are, everyone talking about it. It's just really amazing.
Yeah, well, I think that the company is building on a foundation of a great read-only 64-bit operating system, very mature, 6th generation product. But the focus and innovation that's coming off of that, right? As we sort of build off of that, listen to our customers, listen to our partners in terms of hey, what other things could make this product more effective, right? And so we're adding things in like the cloud gateway. We're porting the operating system to things like the UD Pocket. And we're just not seeing that sort of level of innovation and focus from our competitors, right? So there's this huge hole that we're walking into where we're exposing people to this. And, people buy things to save money or make money. And we certainly fall into the save money category, both operational expense and capital expenses. And then one of the other biggest challenges people are dealing with today is endpoint as an attack surface for malware and data breaches and that kind of thing, right? And clearly, the VDI architecture helps solve for some of that, but IGEL is building more and more security into an already very secure operating system, right? So this past week, we came out with some things with device trust built into the OS. So we're starting to add some really fantastic contextual security. We're doing some things with Cherry Keyboard around encryption of the keystrokes. We're doing things with Secure Boot. We just continue to enhance that already very strong security message, which is interesting because all of a sudden now we're actually in good conversations almost always in these large enterprises with CISOs. That's an interesting world all by itself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the product's mature, so we're not playing catch up. IGEL's not trying to, catch up to the world. We're staying, or we're ahead of the curve, right? We're ahead of the wave, not trying to catch up with the wave, right? And that's a very nice place to be, that you can do things like, play with the latest, or support the latest, amazing technologies like device trust, or, support solutions like the Cherry keyboards, right? Secure boot. It's easy for us because it's easy for IGEL because it's not, hey, we got to do all this to get there. No, we're already there. Now we just have to support that technology that's brand new, that's the biggest thing, right?
And I think it's continuity and focus, Doug, right? We have some of the same, three of the same engineers that wrote the first lines of code on this operating system and management console still go to work in Augsburg, just outside of Munich, every day, right? And there's 75 people in that building that are singularly focused on solving for these challenges around end user compute. There really isn't another player out there that has that sort of focus, has this kind of a management console approach with profile driven, management and the sort of simple way that we're doing that. And, I think that's really what's driving the growth, right? Is a lot of other players out there are focused on hardware and form factor and make it smaller, put more USB ports on it, that kind of thing, right? Where IGEL is actually really our ethos is grounded in the power and is in the software. And you know what? If you want to buy our hardware, we think we build great hardware, great. But if you want to put our operating system on other people's hardware, that's fine too. And in the U.S., what's interesting is close to 70% of our sales this year will be software. So, if there's any question, is IGEL a software company? Come talk to our team in the U.S. 7 out of $10 that we're selling are going to be software.
Yeah. Or just download it. Go to igel.com/download the thing and install it. That's software. It's I like to say hardware is something IGEL does. It's not what it is. You want hardware. Yeah, they do that. IGEL does that. We do that. But it's not what we are, right?
I'd say to you there, Doug, is that because we build hardware and we actually have capacity to sort of think about the downstream hardware implications, we build better software. Some thinking out there, right? If you really want to be a great software company, you probably should build hardware as well. It's just and that's part of how we're looking at it. And certainly as we move into sort of the future around cloud DAS and even IoT solutions, having a long history of building hardware appliances is not going to hurt our cause.
Yeah. So that being said, I mean, you just 2017 is awesome. So can you share with us any plans that IGEL has for 2018? What can you share with us today about what's going to go down in 2018?
Well, I mean, I think the most exciting thing that I would share with you is that IGEL is going to do something we've never done before. We're going to host an industry event in 3 different continents in the first quarter of 2018. We've named it DISRUPT. We think that's a good name, although now that we named it that, I find a whole bunch of other events named DISRUPT. I guess it's a popular buzzword, but IGEL is certainly disrupting this end-user compute space, so that's what we named it. And so the week of January 15th in Germany, we will host in our hometown of Bremen, we will host an industry end-user computing forum. We have over 200 people already registered for this event, which is just fantastic. And inside that event, there'll be a technical boot camp where you can get really smart on IGEL specifically. But there's over 30 different technology partners in this whole ecosystem. And I think that sort of speaks to the power of IGEL as a software player is our capacity to put on an industry event, to attract 30 different partners to participate in the first year and have a couple hundred very specific customers, distributors, and partners that will attend this event. And if you look at the speaker lineup, you can go to DISRUPTEUC.com and check it out, or you can just get to it through our homepage on IGEL.com. But you'll see the lineup of speakers is nothing short of stunning. We've got top executives from Citrix, VMware, Gartner. We got the CEO of Lakeside, the CEO of Device Trust. We'll have a bunch of different technical panels. In the U.S., we're hosting this in Austin. We have the top guy from VMware that runs their $3 billion end-user compute division, Sumit Dewan, former Citrix, now running that huge division at VMware. He'll be keynoting. We've even brought Brian Madden out of the dark depths of retirement. He'll be doing a keynote on some of the work that he's doing around IoT. And then we'll take the show from Austin and head to Australia and host it in Melbourne. So we're very excited about that, right? Just sort of, helping illuminate where the industry is going and some of the things that are happening there. And we see some exciting things happening in cloud DAS this year. So some of that technology we'll certainly be talking about, and certainly some of the complexity and costs of consuming this technology and how it's solving real world problems. The other exciting thing for me is that we have real customers that will be at all 3 locations talking about how they're deploying this technology at scale. And so there'll be some fun panels of people that are actually charged with deploying and managing these environments and doing it at pretty large scale. So that to me is something obviously that's consuming my holidays, getting ready for it, but very exciting for IGEL to host these 3 events.
It's amazing. I'm looking forward to these, and I had so many questions about, but I think you answered them all right there. Why should a customer join? Well, to hear everything that you just talked about and learn from these these industry experts. Like Jed said, to head over to IGEL.com and click on the big banner in the front, and it'll show you some of these speakers. I'm looking forward to, personally, I'm looking forward to some of the guys talk about IoT and things of that nature, and what all that means for the future. And anything else to add? Any specific thing that you might be looking forward to? Someone, one of the speakers you might be personally interested in learning from, or anything of that nature?
Nathan Hill is going to be in Germany. He's kind of one of the guys who's a wealth of knowledge around this from Gartner. He's been studying EMM and IoT and BDI for a long time, right? And he talks to hundreds and hundreds of customers every year. So he has such an informed perspective on what's really happening and where things are going. So I'm excited to have him. And we actually have one of his old colleagues, Brian Gamage, who's now one of the CTOs at VMware. He'll be speaking. We have one of the CTOs from Microsoft that'll be on the stage. So really a nice cross section. This is an IGEL sponsored event, but it's truly turned into an industry event, right? And I know you're inviting some people from Amazon to the event, and there's going to be a lot of good kind of geek speak, heavy technical content for people that are super technical. And then we're going to take everybody and do this really deep dive technical boot camp for an IGEL certified engineer badge that will happen one of the days there. And it'll actually happen one day in Austin and also in Melbourne. So, I would tell you it should be a tremendous event, and well worth people's time to come, especially if you're in this space, because it's a small enough event, right? Think back to the early days of like iForum, right? These events are small enough to where you're going to have access to some of these top executives from these companies, right? It isn't going to be a 6,000 person event where you're lost in the maze. You can have a one-on-one conversation with Sumit or with Brian Gamage. These are top influential executives that you'll have access to. So I think that's a very unique environment.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember the early iForum days, and those were a lot of fun. And not that the new stuff isn't, but it's nice to have it a little bit smaller. Although I think this is pretty decent size. I'm quite amazed at them. The interest for DISRUPT. It's always it's a very brave thing to try to put on a show, right? Just to say, hey, we're going to do this, and people are like, really? How are you going to pull that off? And then, I'm quite impressed by the organization side, the people that you guys have managed to get, and then the interest in it from the community and our customers and what have you. Does it surprise you at all?
You got to have a dream, right, Doug?
Yeah.
Nothing was ever accomplished without starting with a dream. Yeah, and so it actually has surprised me a little bit, right? In the sense that, okay, we're hosting this in northern Germany. It's cold there, and it's in the first month of the year where a lot of people have other things on their mind. So yeah, it's I think it's all a testament to the interest in VI and user compute, the momentum that we're seeing, the surge in interest in this technology and where it's going. And, obviously I think there's a little bit of a halo effect of what's happening within IGEL right now. So hopefully some of the listeners will be intrigued enough to go investigate it. We'd love to have you there. If you're listening and you want to get involved, you can email me directly. We're trying to get different panels of people set up, and different perspectives represented in this event. So there's lots of opportunities still to participate.
You got it. For our technical listeners out there, can you share anything about this ICE certification? I love that ICE baby. You can't say without doing the ICE baby, can you?
No, and we're working on an ICE pack, which will be kind of a fun swag pack that we're going to give to people that attend it. And I would almost hesitate to promote it in Germany because I think we have over 80 people that have registered for it. But what it really is going to be is a full day, hands-on by the best and brightest within the company. So Renee Recker and Jeff Feige have been working with Frederick and Christian, and these are the smartest technical guys in the field for us, and they're going to put on a full end-to-end hands-on workshop that you'll come out of it with a small test, and there'll be some fun at the end with some geek speak and of course some beer and food and fun. But they'll come out the end of it with an IGEL certified engineer badge that we've invented here for 2018 and going forward. And our belief is obviously that smart people will sell more and buy more. So it's built for both customers and partners in mind. But it's really just a full investigation of the IGEL product, how to connect it to Citrix, how to connect it to VMware, how does this IGEL Cloud Gateway work? What's best practices in deploying, UDC across a large environment? What are some of the amazing things that people are solving for from pain point perspective with the management console? So it's going to be a real, active, hands-on kind of workshop, and these guys have spent the last 2 or 3 months really working on making it a real deep technical, no nonsense. Real world kind of experience. And I think anybody who signs up for it's really going to get a great insight into the IGEL technology.
You got it. I'm personally looking forward to that. I'm going to sit out there like a very happy student. So, one thing when people think this sounds sad or not sad, selling ourselves short somehow, but, people say, hey, I heard you guys gave away a Tesla. So can you, who won the Tesla, Jed? Can you talk a bit? First of all, you just talk about this whole Tesla idea, and then who did win?
A very lucky guy out of North Carolina won it, who was a system engineer for one of the largest retailers in the world. He was at VMworld, and he actually was at a dinner when he won it, and we left him a message with about 500 people listening. He called back about 2 minutes later and was pretty over the moon to attend a trade show in Vegas. Usually you leave with less money, not a Tesla.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Let alone a $145,000 Tesla. So it was a great campaign. We actually won an award for the campaign from the Stevie American Business Association Awards.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Exposed a lot of people to this, and they saw it as a best practice, the way we were kind of handling it and running a global campaign. So we decided at Vegas that we would give away another Tesla. So in actually DISRUPT on Thursday, January 18th at 6 p.m. CET time, we will actually give away a Model 3 Tesla. So anybody that's listening that hasn't signed up and just meets the criteria for participating can go to the IGEL website and still get an entry in. We will be giving that second Model 3 away at DISRUPT. So that's another exciting reason to attend DISRUPT. You don't necessarily have to be there to win it, and we will be live streaming it. And then, of course, we'll also be announcing our next 2018 campaign, which is interesting, if not more interesting, than the Tesla campaign. So cool. Stay tuned for that.
I can't wait. That's super neat. So, boy, you're always so far ahead of me, that we've gone through all of, as people know, I write down a basic list of questions, and I rarely ever stick to them. And talk with Jed, he's always about 3 or 4 steps ahead of me, and try working with the guy. It's always 3 or 4 steps ahead. You got to move fast, guys. You got to move fast, but that's the best part about it. So if you're a mover and a shaker, then you're in high heaven. That being said, Jed, anything else about IGEL? I would like to ask you before we call it an episode. about your predictions for 2018, within our industry or just the industry, the tech world as a whole, right? But before we do that, anything else to add about about IGEL in general?
I mean, I think we've covered it pretty well. I think we just encourage anybody who hasn't really looked at IGEL and who is deploying this architecture, to give us a look. And obviously, if you're a partner and you're listening, and you haven't really looked at IGEL, we're a 100% channel organization, which is amazing for me, right? To be able to say that we work only with the sort of partners that are trusted and have the teams that are really capable of delivering this stuff. And I will tell you one other kind of important moment for me has been that we've been able to attract all those really high-end partners, right, that have several decade-long histories of delivering Citrix and VMware. So yeah, I think we've covered it. I'd love to talk to you about what we think is happening in 2018, because I think it's going to be a very interesting year for this space and technology in general.
Well, go for it. What's Jed Ayres' 2018 predictions?
Well, I mean, I think we're going to continue to see growth in the VDI space, right? Especially for IGEL with the value proposition that we have. So we believe that we can continue to disrupt this market. So I think you're gonna see with Windows 10 and all the security challenges people have, you're gonna see more interest in deploying this VDI architecture, both on-prem and on the cloud. And I think that's really one of the real interesting areas, right? Is you're gonna start to see Citrix pushing people towards a cloud subscription model, VMware doing the same, and then AWS is obviously working very hard with their workspaces product to deliver a cloud workspace solution. And Amazon, as they've done in every other industry, they don't want a small chunk of the pie. They want the entire use case, right? Workspaces on any device, anywhere. Yeah. So I see them as a very disruptive. I heard something the other day that said if Amazon isn't in a sector you're in, you should probably be scared, and if they are, you should be scared, right? So yeah. I look for them to more and more people looking at their solutions, and obviously they have a ways to go into maturity, in terms of catching up with the rest of the on-prem capacity to deliver these solutions that Citrix and VMware obviously have very mature solutions at this point. So it's not going to happen overnight, but what it is going to do is I think in 2018 will be a year where a lot of people start to look at these in earnest, right? Look at these solutions, start to give more feedback to Amazon and Azure in terms of what's needed to actually move to these subscription models. And that's going to move the whole industry forward, right? Yeah. So that's probably my biggest prediction in terms of what I think is going to happen in 2018 is just, we're a lot of people looking to the technology, but also looking to it in the cloud.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I think that 2017, 2018, or really for a while now, we've been just continuing the growth, continuing the innovation, continuing this march towards, a subscription model, cloud delivered, universe, right? And I like what you said about Amazon, because I think that's my biggest prediction is that I don't think that. I'm sorry?
I'm still here.
Oh, I don't think that 2018 is going to be the year of Amazon, but I think it's going to be sort of the year where Amazon starts making a splash and people start hearing about it. And it's sort of like the old days. You didn't bet against IBM, you didn't bet against Microsoft. If you did, you were usually on the wrong end of wrong end of right. And I think that Amazon's going to take a big chunk of things, and but it's going to come down to when things are ready for DAS and what have you. But I've told so many people that pay attention to what AWS is doing with workspaces, with AppStream, also the ability to take applications and webify them. Both those technologies are futuristic, to say the least, and I just don't bet against those guys. I spent a lot of time playing with the technology. I think it's going to be huge, but IoT is going to continue to grow.
We are working very hard with Teradici and Amazon right now, and look for us to be a player in terms of onboarding people into these workspaces environments. Right? I mean, I think that's the magic of IGEL. is that we're kind of a Switzerland, right? We don't care what hardware you're going to run our operating system on. We don't care what cloud you're going to run on. I think we support 13 different protocols right now. And so, we're kind of a Swiss Army knife in terms of the endpoint, right? In terms of how you can get access to these solutions, make it work with all your peripherals, and do it in a very cost-effective, highly secure, and highly manageable way, right? So to us, what's exciting about Amazon is that it really shortens the sales cycle, right? When you think about the time that these POCs, right, a lot of it's around sizing storage, sizing servers, working on network, latency challenges and so forth, right? So when you think about consuming this out of Amazon or Azure, a lot of that complexity goes away entirely, right? But what doesn't go away is I still need a device to be able to manage and access those workspaces, right? And that's really where IGEL, with our software-based approach, becomes very interesting.
Absolutely. And don't forget IoT. IoT is going to continue to grow and work its way into our everyday lives, and that's across the board. So, yeah. Jed, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us. It's been a fun 2017. I didn't think this time of last year I would be at IGEL, and actually about this time I did, but 2 weeks earlier I had no, and I would and I've had the best year. So thank you so much.
We've been very blessed to have you as part of the team and part of our extended global voice in terms of educating people on IGEL, and we're very grateful for that, Doug, and love doing these podcasts with you. You're probably the easiest person on the planet to talk to. You've got a voice for radio and a certain way of opening people up, so always a pleasure to get on the call with you.
You're too kind to me. Too kind. Way too kind to me. So my ego always grows a little bit, and that's a bad thing. So thank you, Jed, again. We'll go ahead and call this a show. Sound good?
Take care out there, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Jed, thank you so much again. And before we get too far, guys, I want to talk about something that Jed brought up at the beginning of the podcast, and that was a document that I am working on, and a bunch of the engineers, a few engineers at IGEL is working on, that really helps you get up and running with the IGEL software solution platform with very little effort. So IGEL has great documentation. We really do. But like a typical software company, there's not really one document that'll walk you through the entire process. You really sort of somewhat need to know where to go. We have great support articles, great user guides, but we don't have that one, and I don't believe really any or many software companies have that one document that'll walk you through all that. The entire process. When you're brand new, you don't know anything, but you want to try it out. You want to put this in your lab. You want to create a very simple proof of concept. And so that's what we set out to do. And it's really simple. It's all screenshot by screenshot. It starts off giving you a little bit of information about the IGEL solution. What is the IGEL solution? How does it work? What are the different products? Just a real brief overview, written the way I talk. So it's very easy to understand. And from there, we dive into, okay, so you want to download the product. Now what? Well, you head over to igel.com/download. And then what? Oh, there's a screenshot for that. Oh, you receive an email. Okay, well, don't worry about that email, it says. We will walk you through every single process. So click on this link, download the code, install it. And this is how you install it, screenshot by screenshot. And as we go through, we link out to different eDocs, what we call eDocs at IGEL, which are support documents. Hey, here's more information about this. Here's more information about this. Oh, here's a note. Gotcha. Be careful. You probably want to, worry about this. And we walk you through the entire process. By the time you're done, you'll have the IGEL management solution set up, that we call the UMS. You'll have a client set up. You can do this all in virtual environments too. I actually have it running on my Mac and just VirtualBox. And when you're done, it's all done. It's you set up. It's about 80 pages, but we got to remember every page has two big giant screenshots on it. So it's really two big giant screenshots and a little bit of text. And if you took away all the screenshots, it would probably be 20 pages or something, and maybe even smaller. And but it's really simple. I think you guys will really like it. I've sent it out to 40, 50 people, and the feedback's been really amazing. They're like, wow, this was so easy to set up. I can't believe how simple this was to set up. Wow, I can't believe how, it took me an hour, it took me half an hour. So we're getting some feedback from folks. Hey, if you think about doing this, hey, can you add this? So if you want this document right now, please send me an email, brown@igel.com, or you can head and join our new Slack community. So IGEL has a tech community. This is the second thing I want to talk about and share with you guys. We have a tech community, IGELcommunity.com, and that'll actually take you to a LinkedIn group. And I love the LinkedIn groups. Pretty much everyone's on LinkedIn, so you can head over there. But with the problem with a forum like that is you really don't have that collaborative. You really don't have a real-time messaging solution. So a few of my buddies been bugging me to build a Slack community. So we just built a Slack community for IGEL. In one day, we have 100 folks, 100 engineers. And in one day, I think we have 350 different threads going on, communication. And we're not just talking about IGEL. We're having fun, too. We're really, truly a community with some of the best and brightest guys out there. A bunch of great IGEL engineers and more being added every single day. It is Christmas time, so a lot of guys are on vacation. I can't wait until after the holidays and watch this thing boom, because right now trying to keep up with this is almost difficult. But we've organized it well, too. So you have a different channels for each of the products. If you have any questions, you can post it there, and someone will probably answer it. And it might not be an IGEL guy. Maybe it's another community guy that has the same problem or knows the answer to your question. And we had a question like, hey, which firmware do we download? Hey, that's a great question. That's one of the questions I asked. And I actually learned from the answer, believe it or not. So if you're in Slack, head over to, just open up Slack and join IGELcommunity.slack.com. Just put that within the Slack client and you come on in, please. The more the merrier. And I think that it's a great way for you guys to stay up to date with what IGEL's doing. As there's new product releases, we'll post that. It's not just the support, because it's not official support, it's community. So, but if we find that we can help you, maybe we will send you to the official support. In fact, there was one question we're like, that's a really advanced thing. Let's see if we can't just open up a support ticket and get you guys the right proper support on this one. But I think you'll love it. So and within that community too, you can download this document. So I have the draft up there right now. Hopefully we'll release this thing, or we will release this thing at Summit. Citrix Summit in the second week of January. So then it'll be within the download email. It'll be on IGEL.com. It'll be on DABCC.com. It'll be everywhere, and also it'll be within the Slack community. I also want to, and I'm already doing it. It's sort of, I call it an open source document. So I had another gentleman, another engineer, another techie, another community member say, hey, there's this great thing called device trust that Jed brought up. Wouldn't it be great if we documented that? And I was like, yeah, I would love that. And he said, I can take the lead on that. I can write that. So he's going to write that bit. He'll send it over to me. I'll sort of Dougify it, throw it in, change, make it fit within the fold of the document, make it look and feel like the rest of it, so it's easy to understand the way it currently is, the document is, and we'll release an updated version of that. So it's really an open source, software defined. It's getting better all the time. And in community-driven project to teach you guys how to install. And that's the big thing I tell you about 2018. And I really got my feet wet in 2017 trying to do this, and now I'm running full speed and getting some great help from some of the great guys at IGEL. And like I said, some community members are stepping up to play big time, because that's what these guys do. They love technology, and they want to be a part of it. So if you're somebody who loves technology, you want to be a part of it, IGELcommunity.slack.com. That's not a URL you would put into a browser. That's a URL you would put into the Slack client itself. So, and if you haven't used Slack, download it. You guys will love this thing. It's really amazing. I'm not a big Slack user, or was not. Now I've been a huge Slack user. And thanks, Shane, for pushing me in that direction. So I sort of went kicking and screaming once I went there. Thought to myself, gee, what was I thinking? So what else do I say? But thank you, Jed, so much for a great year. Thank you for doing this podcast with us. I'm so excited about 2018. IGEL's going gangbusters, and we're going gangbusters because we got a great solution, and you guys are finding it, and you guys are loving it, and the community's embracing it, and we're extending it. The tweets have been amazing. I'd love to know exactly how many retweets we had from last year, but just phenomenal. And not just retweets, where people go out and actually tweet it or put it on LinkedIn or even Facebook, gee, I just downloaded IGEL. This is amazing. I can't believe this. And how many people I've sent a UD Pocket to, for example, and say, Doug, this is just, thank you so much. This is so great. Where has this been my whole life? And that's really the story behind the IGEL growth is we're getting that message out there. The Germans have always created a great technology. It's only getting better. If you want to buy good, you buy German engineering. And that's just all there is to it. I absolutely love it. So I've had the time of my life the past year. It's almost the end of 2018 now, or 2017. So I'll go ahead and I'll wish you a Merry Christmas if you listen to this prior to Christmas. And I will wish you a very happy New Year's, a very happy 2018. And may it be filled with everything you ever want and a little bit more. So on that note, I won't even talk about DABCC, but definitely visit DABCC.com. It's a great place to be. Take care, all. Thank you so much for listening to DABCC Radio. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Can you say DABCC?
DABC.
Say it again, DABCC.
DABC.
Can you say it again, DABCC?
DABC.
How about DABCC?
DABC.
DABCC.
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 DABCC.